If you clicked on this video today, you're probably interested in creating a sprinting and stamina system for Unreal Engine 5. And what we're going to be doing in this tutorial is creating a system where we start walking and then we can sprint, and once our energy runs out, it'll stop sprinting and we'll go back to walking again. So let's get started. Okay, so let's open up the VP third person character blueprint. And once that is open, we're going to create 3 new variables. The first one's going to be stamina. The second one is going to be max stamina. So max stamina. Stamina. Okay, and the third one is going to be is sprinting. The max stamina and the stamina are both going to be type float. So let's change them to type float. And once we compile, and make sure to set both of them as a value of 1 on the right hand side. Let's go into the event graph and we're going to type in left shift because this is going to be our sprint button. If you want it to be something else, just type in a different button. And we're going to get is sprinting and press B to get a branch and connect that up to pressed. Okay, we're going to get another branch, and what do we need next? We need stamina. So we're going to get stamina, and out of get stamina we want a greater than node, and we're just going to leave this at 0. So if the stamina is greater than 0, then we can sprint. Okay, so let's get is sprinting. Sorry, hold control and set is sprinting, and then we're going to drag out get player movement or character movement, and we're going to set the max walk speed. Now, you should set this to your character's current walk speed, but later in the video I'm going to change it to around 150, but for now I'm just going to use 750. Okay, and then get stamina, and we're going to subtract, a value of 0.05. 0.05, there we go. Once we have that done, what we need to do next is drag out of this, and we're going to clamp float, and we're going to clamp the max to the max stamina, and the value is going to be just stamina, obviously with the -5. Next, what we need to do is set the stamina again and add it to the set max walk speed, like this, and we'll just connect this up. And that's looking good, but I do want to clean this up because it's quite messy at the moment, so I'm going to bring these all a little bit closer. Okay, perfect. So next thing we need to do is create a custom event, and we're going to name this stamina update. And we need to create an event dispatcher, so I'm just going to rename this on stamina update, or on stamina used, or something like that. That's fine. Okay, we're going to drag this and we're going to call it and drag that into stamina update. Okay, make sure everything's lined up neat. I might actually comment these things in a minute, just to tidy everything up. Okay, so drag the stamina update, and we're just going to drag it to the output pin of this one, which is set stamina. Next, we're going to add a delay, and the delay is going to be 0.5 seconds. Out of that, we're going to get a branch, so drag out of it and press B, and we're going to drag in the is sprinting as the condition. Okay, so out of branch, we are going to connect the true value to the true value of the second branch, just like this, just so it wraps around, and you can double click to add some reroute nodes, just so this makes it a little bit tidier. I'm just going to highlight all these and press C so I can comment them. I'm just going to name this medpack because that was from the previous tutorial where we created a health system with med packs that we can pick up. And I'm just going to highlight all this, drag it down a little bit, Okay, next, what we need to do, drag out of character movement, and we're going to set max walk speed. And out of the false value, we're going to set the max walk speed back to the default value. Next, we need to get stamina, and we are going to add 0.03 and then drag out the execution pin, and then we need to just drag out of that, and we're going to get a clamp, so it's going to be clamp float. Okay, that looks good. Now what we need to do next is, out of the set max walk speed where it's 500, that's going to be the minimum value, we're going to set is sprinting, and we're going to set that as off, so we'll just leave it unchecked. Then we're going to get a branch, line it all up. We're going to get the max stamina, and we're going to get the stamina. Then we are going to get an equals or equal, and we're going to add both values and add it to the condition there. Let me just try and tidy this up a little bit so I can see. Move that down a bit. Okay, so next we need to set the stamina again out of the false value, and we're going to connect that to the return node of the clamp float. Then we need to get the stamina update and add it to the execution pin of the set stamina. Press Q to line everything up nice and neat, and then out of that we're going to add another delay, and the delay of this one should be around 0.5 seconds. Okay, make sure you save. We're going to get is sprinting, drag that, add another branch, and out of false we're going to do the same as what we did before. We're going to connect it to the branch that comes before we set the stamina, and then we could just add some reroute nodes again, clean it all up. Okay, so out of release, what we need to do is we also need to connect this to the set walk speed to the 500, so the minimum value. Let's compile this. Okay, so what you're going to do now is create a user interface if you haven't got one already. So if you followed the health tutorial, you'll already have one. But if you haven't, then just create a new one. But this is basically how you would do it. I'm just going to do this and go into the old one, and I'm just going to press Control and D to duplicate it. So I'm just going to use the health bar that I used before. I'm just going to line that up. So let's just get it in a nice position, and I want to change the color to a blue color for stamina. So the bottom one's obviously health and the top one's stamina. Okay, make sure you click the anchor and anchor it to the bottom left if yours is in the bottom left. If it's not, anchor it to wherever it needs to be. And we're just going to double check this color. That looks nice. And if we move the percent, as you can see, it's all working correctly. Now we go into the graph, we're going to delete the event tick, and we need to get the player character. So right click, get player character, out of the return value, we're going to cast it to the BP third person character, or whichever character you're using as your main character. Let's drag this down a little bit, connect that to event pre-construct, and out of the BP third person character we need to create a variable. So promote this to a variable, and this is just going to be a reference to your main character or the BP third person character. So I'm going to name it TPP or TPC reference or ref. Now we have like a variable that we can use without casting it every single time. So out of event construct we need to get, what do we need to get? We need to get this name, so we're going to have to change the name of the progress bar. So this one's going to be health because it's the red one. And the second one is going to be stamina because it's obviously blue. So stamina bar, that'll do. Compile and save, go back to the graph, and then we need to get the stamina bar. So if you hold control, you can just get it like this. And let's just drag out set percent, connect this up, then we're going to get our reference, drag out of that, and get stamina. Okay, add that to in percent, and that'll convert it to a percentage. And the bar will be set depending on what percentage. Okay, so next we need to duplicate our reference. So press Ctrl D, or you can just drag it out again, and we're going to bind events on stamina used. And then we're going to connect that up. And the event is going to be a custom event. So just drag out of event. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to type custom event and create a brand new one. And the custom event is going to be called, let's call it update. Nice and simple. Let's grab all these, copy and paste them, and then we're going to add this to the execution pin of update. Let's compile and play if my screen would like to show up. Excuse me, there we go. Right, okay, so we're in the game and the stamina is obviously grey, which means it's on 0. So what we need to do is go to the BP third person character, or whichever character you're using, and we need to go to the stamina and max stamina and set the values both as 1. That is slower, but I don't want it to still play the running animation when we're walking. So let me set it to 100. And yeah, doesn't look like it's changed, meaning it's only working after sprinting. Okay, so it's in the BP third person character blueprint that we need to change the minimum walk speed. Okay, so I'm recording this post recording because I had some errors with the max walk speed and the max walk speed crouched, and this does matter because we'll be adding a crouching system in the next video. So you want the max walk speed to be 150 and either 100 or 150 centimeters for the crouched one. And this is because the way the BP third person character works is that when you are at a certain speed, it'll play a certain animation. So as you can see here, it's playing the walking animation. And then when we press shift to activate the sprint, it'll move up to, I think it was 750, the max sprint speed, or 500, I can't remember. But it doesn't matter anyway, and it'll play the actual running animation. So yeah. Okay, so that's all looking good. We can now sprint and slow down, and when the stamina goes to 0, it'll completely stop us and make us walk, because obviously we have no energy left to run. So these two systems were pretty similar. So the stamina and the health system basically use like just a bar, and you bind it to a certain percent, and it decreases or increases depending on what you do, right? So what we can do, we can actually make a hunger system, and I also need to make it so we can crouch down under objects and stuff. So if you're interested in that, click the video on the top right, and thank you for watching. I'll catch you later.